Which of the following river does not originate from the Tibetan plateau and the flow entirely within the Nepal before joining the Gangetic plain भनेको मेची. Under the Nepal Constitution 2072, which fundamental right is not directly listed as a economic right? Under Part 3 भनेको right to clean environment. The Karnali Sudur-Pasim ecological belt is characterized by the high biodiversity. Which of the following endangered species is endemic to the Sudur-Pasim region of Nepal भनेको Bengal florican. Nepal 16 plan periodic plan 2024-2029 target as per capita income of the approximately how much US dollar by the end of the plan period? 2500 USD. Which schedules of the Nepal Constitution 2072 list the executive power of the federal government? Schedule 5. Schedule 5. The carbon sink status of Nepal preliminary attributes to which of the following? Net absorption of CO2 exceeding its emission. Net absorption of CO2 exceeding its emission. Under the Civil Service Act of the Nepal, which body is preliminary responsible for the conducting the competitive examination for the guided post? Public Service Commission. Mistake in the regional group, which two nations become the newest member to expanding the group beyond the original five, Nepal and Bhutan? Which of the following is not the features of the public service charter mandated for the Nepalese government office? Time-bound service delivery commitment, giverance, redressal mechanism, citizen entitlement to service fee refund आणि सर्व्हिस स्टँडर्ड एलिजिबिलिटी क्रायटेरियामध्ये सिटिझन अनटायटलमेंट टू सर्व्हिस फी रिफंड जे आहे ना. इन म्यानेजमेन्ट थ्योरी कन्सेप्ट अफ म्यानेजमेन्ट बाई एक्सपेक्टेसन भनेको इज मोस्टली क्वेसन द फङ्सन अफ कन्ट्रोलिङ. म्यानेजमेन्ट बाई एक्सपेक्टेसन एमबिई भनेको कन्ट्रोलिङ हो. मेलम्ची वाटर सप्लाई प्रोजेक्ट ड्र द वाटर फ्रम मेलम्ची रिभर एन्ड एडिसनली फ्रम विच रिभर थ्रु द बेसिन ट्रान्सफर भनेको याङ्री र लार्के. याङ्री लार्के र मेलम्चीबाट मेलम्ची वाटर सप्लाई ड्र गरिएको. विच अफ द नेपाल कन्स्टिट्युसन ग्यारेन्टी द राइट टु कन्स्टिट्युसनल रेमेडी भनेको आर्टिकल 46. आर्टिकल 46 राइट टु कन्स्टिट्युसनल रेमेडी आर्टिकल 46. नेपाल ह्युमन डेभलपमेन्ट इन्डेक्स ऱ्याङ्क एज पर लेटेस्ट युएनडिपी ह्युमन डेभलपमेन्ट रिपोर्ट प्लेस नेपाल इन विच क्याटेगोरी? मिडियम ह्युमन डेभलपमेन्ट क्याटेगोरी. Medium Women Development category. Under the Public Procurement Act of Nepal, seal quotation method is permissible for the procurement value for the construction work up to Nepali rupees 2 million 20 लाखसम्मको लागि seal quotation गरिन्छ. The Safe Poksundo Lake in Dolpa district is the Nepal deepest lake भयो. Which types of the lake in terms of the formation भनेको landslide dammed lake. यो भनेको landslide dammed lake हो. Glacial lake होइन, टेक्टोनिक लेक होइन, अक्सबो लेक होइन, landslide DAMM dammed lake हो. According to the National Census 2078, most province which has the highest population density भनेको मधेस province. In Nepal federal system, the concurrent legislative list is found in which schedule of constitution भनेको schedule 9. schedule 9. नेपालको फेडरल स्ट्रक्चरमा चाहिँ concurrent legislative list is found in which schedule of constitution भनेको schedule 9 भयो. Nepal ratified which international climate agreement and submitted its first national determined contribution NDC, committing to reduce the GHG emission by 45% 2030 भनेको पेरिस एग्रिमेन्ट एनडिसी. नेसनल डिटरमाइन्ड कन्ट्रिब्युसन पेरिस एग्रिमेन्ट भएको थियो. सार्कमा इरान पर्दैन, अफगानिस्तान, मालदिभ, श्रीलङ्का पर्ने भयो. मुलुकी ऐन भनेको 1910मा आएको थियो. कसले कोडिफाइड गरेको थियो भन्दाखेरि जङ्गबहादुर राणाले गरेको थियो. 3 पिलर अफ सस्टेनेबल डेभलपमेन्ट भनेको इकोनोमिक, सोसल एन्ड इन्भाइरोमेन्ट हो. इकोनोमिक, सोसल एन्ड इन्भाइरोमेन्टल हो. अन्डर द नेपाल लोकल गभर्नेन्ट एक्ट 2074, द पावर अफ लेभिज टु द हाउस र ल्यान्ड ट्याक्स बिलङ विथ रुरल अर्बन म्युनिसिपालिटी. घरको र जग्गाको कर भनेको रुरल अथवा अर्बन म्युनिसिपालिटीलाई पर्छ. काठमाडौँ. विच अफ द फलोइङ मिनरल इज फाउन्ड इन द सिग्निफिकेन्ट क्वालिटी इन द नेपाल बागमती प्रोभिन्स एन्ड कमर्सियली माइन्ड भनेको लाइमस्टोन. विच अफ द फलोइङ मिनरल इज फाउन्ड इन सिग्निफिकेन्ट क्वान्टिटिज इन नेपाल बागमती प्रोभिन्स एन्ड इट्स कमर्सियली माइन्ड भनेको लाइमस्टोन भयो. द डिजिटल नेपाल फ्रेमवर्क इज लन्च बाई द गभर्मेन्ट अफ नेपाल टार्गेट ट्रान्सपोर्टेसन अक्रस हाउ मेनी सेक्टर भनेको 8 सेक्टर। डिजिटल नेपाल फ्रेमवर्क चाहिँ कतिवटा सेक्टरमा, 8वटा सेक्टरमा। विच अफ द फलोइङ इज द करेक्ट हायरार्की अफ द बजेट क्लासिफिकेसन अन्डर नेपालको गभर्मेन्ट एकाउन्टिङ सिस्टम भनेको मिनिस्ट्री, प्रोग्राम, सब प्रोग्राम र एक्टिभिटी। मिनिस्ट्री, प्रोग्राम, सब प्रोग्राम, एक्टिभिटी। इन्जिनियरको एफओएच, एमएफएफएफएस भए जस्तै सर्वेयरको टिबिएस, डब्लुएफ, जेपिएस। 2बाट 6, 6बाट 12, 12बाट 20, 20बाट 30, 30बाट 42 अनि 56। Pointing towards the photograph, Ramesh says, "This man's son is the only one brother to my daughters and its paternal grandmother." How Ramesh is related to the man of photograph and his son-in-law? A contractor can complete the road project in 30 days. After the 10 days, second contractor joined together. They finish in the 10 more days. How long would the second contractor have taken? Have alone have taken भनेको 30 days. 30 days. Statement भनेको all beam are column, some column are slab, all slab are footing. Conclusion, some footing are column, some beam are slab, no beam is slab. Which conclusion definitely follow भनेको only first and either second or third. Civil engineer walk 5 kilometer north, then turn right, and walk 3 kilometer, then turn right, and again walk 5 kilometer, then turn left, and walk 2 kilometer. What is the straight line distance from the distant point भनेको 5 kilometer. भ्यालु रिप्लेस बाई द वाटमा मेट्रिक्स 8 1 6 3 5 7 4 9 अनि 2 हुन्छ 4 9 2। यस एक्जन अफ suspension bridge has cable that follow the parametric profile under the uniform distributed load. Reason, under the following distributed load, the vertical force per unit horizontal length is constant, producing the parabolic shape. Choose the correct one. Both A and R true and R is the correct explanation of A भनेको छ a suspension bridge has cable that follow the parabolic profile under the uniform distributed load because under the uniform distributed load the vertical force per unit horizontal length is constant, producing parabolic shape भनेर भनौँ। if the 15% of the A plus B भनेको 20% of A minus B भने percentage of B is A भनेको 700%। एङ्गल प्लेनिमिटर थियोडोलाइटले एङ्गल नाप्छ, प्लेनिमिटरले एरिया नाप्छ, प्यारामिटरले प्रेसर नाप्छ भने प्यारोमिटरले टेम्परेचर नाप्छ, प्यारामिटरले टेम्परेचर नाप्छ। अ कन्ट्र्याक्टर सबमिट द बिड फर 4 प्रोजेक्ट, प्रोबेबिलिटी अफ द विनिङ इज इन्डिपेन्डेन्टली 0.5। वाट इज द प्रोबेबिलिटी अफ द विनिङ 3 आउट अफ 4 भनेको 1/4 इनपुट भनेको 85 32 19 67 44 56 छ भने वाट इज द थर्ड एलिमेन्ट अफ द फाइनल एलिमेन्ट भनेको यसै डिसेन्डिङ भनेको सानोबाट ठुलो भनेपछि 19 32 44 19 32 44 and यसको 56 नै रहेछ। रेसियो अफ द एज अफ द ब्रिज सो द्याट द एक्जोडेन्ट 5 years वा 3:1 वाट विल बी द 2:1 एन्ड विल बी 2:1 आफ्टर 5 years। प्रेजेन्ट एज भनेको 35 भइहाल्यो। अनि डायग्राम रिप्रेजेन्टेसन बिट्विन सिभिल इन्जिनियर, ग्याजेटेड अफिसर र पिएससी क्यान्डिडेट भनेको सुरुको गोलो 3टा कटेको भन्ने भयो। ट्रेन 200 मिटर लङ छ अरे, क्रसेस द प्लेटफर्म 30 मिटर लङ इन 25 सेकेन्ड। हाउ लङ इट टेक टु क्रस द स्टेसनरी सिङ्गल पोल भनेको 10 सेकेन्ड लाग्छ। एसिई एफएचजे केएम पछि पिआरटी आउँछ। प्रोजेक्ट वर्थ 10 करोड as scheduled for 4 network in days. After 10 days, only 20% of the work is complete. What is the repatriation rate for the same train? 500 days लाग्छ। 6 pump of the capacity of the train is reserved 12 घन्टा। How many hours with the 9 such pump take the train? 1.5 times that reservoir भनेको 12 घन्टा। 6 घन्टा पम्प चाहिँ त्यसलाई 12 घन्टा लाग्छ अरे। How many hour will 9 such take to train? 1.5 times reservoir भनेको that is 12 hours. Statement, all concrete must be cured for at least 7 days. What is the following statement required contradict भनेको concrete cured for 3 days so sufficient strain in the specific trial भनेर भन्न चाहिँ मिल्दैन। अरू 3टा के भन्न सक्यो? some concrete structure are cured for 28 days भन्न मिल्यो। high early strength cement may not need full 7 days of curing भन्न मिल्यो। curing beyond 28 days does not improve the strength significantly भन्न मिल्यो। डाटा इन्टरप्रेसन इन सर्वे 2200 इन्जिनियर 120 सिभिल छन् अरे, 90 स्ट्रक्चरल छन् भने 40 चाहिँ बोथ छन् अरे भनिसकेपछि हाउ मेनी नाइदर भनेको छ 100 त्यो अनि त्यसमा 40 भनेपछि 80 अनि यता 50 अनि 40 अनि बाँकी कति हुने भयो 30 बाहिर चाहिँ भन्ने भयो। यतिमध्ये विच अफ द सिमिलर बक्स फर्म अफ द गिभन सिट अफ पेपर फर्स्टको फर्म हुने भयो रहेछ यहाँ रहेछ आइडेन्टिफाई द कम्प्लेक्स प्याटर्न फोर नम्बर मैले 2 लगाइदिएँ फोर नम्बर ठिक छ यो त मिलिहाल्यो यो पनि मिल्यो यो पनि मिल्यो त्यो दुई टाइम्स त्यो भयो नि त Further simply separate between this and length the constant load P at the center of the maximum deflection using Maclaurin method and PLK by 48 EI. In plastic analysis of the fixed beam of the spaniel under the central point load P, the collapse on the load reaches when the ends form both fixed and the mid span. When which of the following is correct or expressing the shape factor for rectangular cross section 1.5? Which of the following is the correct expression the shape factor of the rectangular cross section plastic beam 1.5? The stiffness K factor of the beam wire in fixed and parent pin भनेको 3I by L, parent hinge भनेको 3I by L, parent fix भनेको 4I by L, parent P भनेको EI by L. The slope deflection method, the fixed moment of the float cantilever beam with the UDL W per unit length of the spaniel at the fixed भनेको minus WL square by 8 minus WL square by 8 मैले UBL भनेर लगाएछु UDL रहेछ नि त minus WL square by 8 ठिक छ ट्याकोमेट्री सर्भेङमा स्ट्याप इन्टरसेप्ट 1.5 मल्टिप्लाइङ कन्स्टेन्ट के भनेको 100 एडिटिभ कन्स्टेन्ट 0 छ भने होरिजेन्टल डिस्टेन्स अफ द होरिजेन्टल लाइन भनेको के हुन्छ 1.5 into 100 भनेको 150 भइहाल्यो त एडजस्टमेन्ट अफ द ट्राभर्स युजिङ द बोर्ड इज रुल्स करेक्सन एप्लाइड एन्ड द ट्राभर्स लेग इज प्रपोर्सनल टु द लेन्थ अफ द्याट ट्राभर्स लेग है ल्याटिच्युड र डिपार्चर होइन द लेन्थ अफ द्याट ट्राभर्स लेग बोर्डिस रुलमा चाहिँ करेक्सन एप्लाइड अफ द इन्च ट्राभर्स लेग इज proportional to the length of the traverse leg. The place where reading is taken is known as लेभल ग्राउन्ड अनि स्टेसन हुनुपर्ने यहाँ चाहिँ ग्राउन्ड लगाएको रहेछ in the setting of the simple circular curve the Rankine deflection angle method uses deflection angles that are cumulative and measured from the tangent at the point of curvature in mass hole diagram a borrow pit situated is indicated with the diagram false and the total cut is less than total fill. Reciprocal leveling is primarily used to eliminate the combined effect of curvature, refraction, collimation error across the wide obstacle. In EDM, electron distance measurement, the phase distance measured distance by comparing the phase of the modulated outgoing signal versus the reflected return signal via which test is measure the resistance of the course aggregate to the mechanical wear by the application of impact and friction mechanical Los Angeles abrasion test. The initial setting time of the ordinary potential as per I score should not be less than 30 minutes. The compound Portland cement preliminary responsible for the early strength up to 7 days सम्मको लागि ट्राइक्याल्सियम सिलिकेट अर्ली स्ट्रेन्थको लागि ट्राइक्याल्सियम सिलिकेट है 7 दिनसम्मको लागि एटेनबर्ग लिमिटमा टेस्ट डिटरमाइन द मिनिमम वाटर कन्टेन्ट इट इज सोइल बिगन्स टु फ्लो अन्डर इज ओन वेट भनेको लिक्विड लिमिट द एटेनबर्ग लिमिट द डिटरमाइन द मिनिमम वाटर कन्टेन्ट इट इज सोइल बिगन्स टु फ्लो अन्डर ओन वेट भनेको लिक्विड लिमिट vitamin penetration create arts by indicate the under the standard test condition positive the standard needle penetration between sample to depth of 0.8 to 1 centimeter 0.8 to 1 centimeter 80 to 100 mm then 0.8 to 1 centimeter which tumor defect caused by the rupture of the wood fiber in radial direction due to the unequal longitudinal shrinkage star shape which tumor defect is caused by the rupture of the wood fiber in the radial direction due to the unequal longitudinal shrinkage भनेको star shape According to the IS 550, the reinforced concrete structure exposed in moderate environment condition, the minimum cement content is 300 kg per meter cube. 300 kg per meter cube. The workability of the phase concrete must accurately measure by which test when the low slump 0 to 25 the concrete involved भनेको VB consistometer test. Very low slump 0 देखि 25 सम्म छ भने VB consistometer test गरिन्छ. Pre-stress concrete in the pre-stress preliminary to eliminate the tensile stress in the concrete under the service load. Pre-stress concrete in pre-stress preliminary to eliminate the tensile stress in the concrete under service load भयो. Which admixture act by the forming the monomolecular film around the cement particles, causing the electrostatic repulsion and reducing the water demand without affecting the setting time significantly भनेको super plasticizer UHRWR, which admixture act by forming the molecular film around the cement particle, causing the electrostatic repulsion and reducing the water demand without affecting the setting time significantly भनेको plasticizer super plasticizer. The concrete mix design in IS, the target mean strength is determined by using characteristics distinct plus 1.65 into standard deviation. Terzaghi 1 degree consolidation theory assumes that the following condition flow is pore water, flow of the pore water away the Darcy law, soil is homogeneous and fully saturated, load is applied instantaneously. Which of the following is the soil classification indicate the highest bearing capacity under the general shear failure? Dense gravel with a small amount of silt. Which of the following soil classification indicate the highest bearing capacity under the general shear failure? Dense gravel with a small amount of silt. Liquefaction potential is of the saturated sandy soil is most influenced by which combination? Low relative density and high cyclic shear stress ratio. Relative density and high cyclic shear stress ratio. In Nepal, the main central thrust separate which two geological zone? Lesser Himalaya, higher Himalaya. Main central thrust lesser Himalaya र higher हिमालयलाई गर्छ. A new Austrian tunneling method ENATM, it relies primarily on which principle? Mobilization of the surrounding rock mass strength through the controlled deformation in circuit lining. Mobilization of the surrounding rock mass through the controlled deformation in circuit lining भनेको Australian tunneling method भयो. For a sandy soil, relative density 0.6, E max 0.8, E min 0.4. What is the void ratio of the E of the soil? 0.56. 0.56. In CPM network, pre-fault is any activity is defined as the amount of time which this activity can delay without affecting the early strength and the end of the any succeeding activity भनेको चाहिँ free flood भयो. Under the Nepal Public Procurement Regulation, two invalid system is used for which procurement consisting the service where technical quality is evaluated price. Separately from price. PIT मा optimistic 4 छ, most likely 7 छ, pessimistic 16 छ. Expected time भनेको के हुन्छ? 4 + 7 = 28 + 16 भनेको 48/6 भनेको 8 भयो. अनि 7 - 4 7 - चाहिँ 16 मा 4 12 डिभाइड बाई 4 भनेको 4 = 16 अनि 12 6 दुने 2 दुने 4 8 र 4 हुने भयो. Dispute Acquisition Board is an FIDC contract is preliminary intended to provide the real-time dispute resolution during the project execution to avoid the formal arbitration भयो. On value analysis में 3 key parameter when the cost performance index less than 1 and schedule performance less than 1 project start भनेको over budget and behind the schedule हो. त CPI भनेको CPI 1 भन्दा सानो भनेको ओभर बजेट अनि बिहाइन्ड द स्केड्युल हो. ISO 9215 the quality management system based on which fundamental principle when applied to the construction assurance plan भनेको process approach to risk based thinking, process approach to risk based thinking, process approach to the risk approach and risk based thinking भयो. Nepal DOI Department of Road Rate Analysis in the dry void is calculate the yield of the lime mortar referred to the volume reduction of the dry material when mixed together. Nepal Department of Road Rate Analysis the dry void in the calculating the yield of the lime mortar referred to the volume reduction of the dry material when mixed together भयो. While preparing the bill of quantity, day work item are included to cover the unforeseen minor work that cannot be measured precisely and are paid based on the input used. Unforeseen minor work that cannot be measured precisely and are paid based on the input used. Valuation. In a valuation, the depreciation can be straight line method for the building of original cost and net present value भनेको 50 लाख छ, salvage value 5 छ, expected time भनेको 50 - 5 45 भनेको चाहिँ के हुन्छ नेपाली रुपिस 1 लाख per year भयो. The performance specification differ from the prospective specification is that in specific the end result output of the work must be achieved without dictating this method. The cube rules Page model formula for the volume calculation is most appropriate for irregular Page model corrector for the curvature of the end section. The cube rule Page model formula for the volume calculation is most appropriate for the irregular prismatic volume corrected for the curvature and intersection. First angle projection of the object in the front view is placed on the plane opposite to the observer. On the plane opposite to the observer. On the plane opposite to the observer. In school building of Nepal, the minimum clear height of the classroom as per NBC भनेको 3 मिटर. स्कुल बिल्डिङमा मिनिमम हाइट अफ द क्लियर हाइट फर द एनबिसी भनेको 3 मिटर हुनुपर्छ. द आइसोमेट्रिक drawing the cube with the edge of length one is correctly represent the edge of for shot 8 to 0.816 a to 30 degree 830 degree to the horizontal. Structure drawing T12 at the rate x 50 cm slab means 12 mm diameter high yield bar at x 50 mm center to center spacing. Hydropower project benefit cost ratio 1.10% discount rate. If the discount rate is increased 15%, the benefit cost ratio will generally decrease because the future benefit are discounted more heavily than the near term cost. The internal rate of return of the project is being described as the discounted average net present value and cash flow equal to zero. In engineering analysis, sensitivity analysis carried out the preliminary to assess how the project validity net present value or benefit cost ratio change with the variation of the key uncertainty parameter. Under the Nepal Engineering Council Act 2055, which of the following is mandatory condition for engineer to practice the charter engineer in Nepal? CHRT charter engineer Nepal registration with NEC and obtain the valid membership NEC membership ल्याउनुपर्छ. NBC except with RB seismic design of the building of Nepal classify the building into the important category. Hospital building fell under the category of category 3. Hospital building fell under the category of category 3. The conflict of interest of provision under the Code of Ethics of Professional Engineer preliminary prohibited accepting the gift or the benefit that could compromise the professional judgment or independence. Conflict of interest भयो. यसरी हाम्रो 100 वटा सकियो. यो चाहिँ हाम्रो मोक टेस्ट कहिलेको थियो? जुन 20 2026 जसमा 61 वटा मात्र मिल्यो.